Mandy, do you have the agenda for today? If Stacy doesn't have it, can you bring it up?
Yes, ma'am. One moment.
Thank you.
Are you seeing that?
Do either one of you have it? No?
I believe I'm sharing. You can't see it.
No.
Can anybody see it?
We still just see the one saying that the meeting starts at 10 o'clock. That's all we see right now.
It flashed on the screen just for like less than a second.
Yeah.
Okay. One moment. I'll try sharing a different way. Here we go. How about now?
Oh, it's still
Not yet. Not yet. We still have the original.
Greater
flyer.
Sacramento general membership meeting, but it's not showing the agenda.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. So it was working then. Okay, good.
Oh, I can't see myself.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
Shane.
What's up, Eddie?
Okay. Hey.
Why is my video
Hey.
like?
I think we have it. Okay, Madam Secretary, I'm calling the meeting to order again at 10:02.
What in the-
Took us a couple of minutes to get the agenda up. That's okay. It's going to be a wonderful day. And now that we have called the meeting to order, this is the agenda that's going to be presented to you for today. I am going to entertain a motion that we accept the agenda as presented for today. That's the motion that I'm entertaining. That's on the floor.
Motion accepted.
Madam President.
Teron Herbal.
I second it.
Who was the
That's
person
right.
that moved the motion?
It was Teron. Good morning.
Good morning, Teron. Teron has moved the motion and Pastor Banks seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. At this time, we will have the reading and the approval of the minutes by our secretary from last month, and that would be Stacy or Mandy. I'm not sure who's going to do the reading of the minutes.
It will be me.
Okay.
And Madam President, I just wanted to say we are not streaming Facebook.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So is there a bad echo on me?
It's a terrible echo. Do you have two systems up right now?
Yeah.
One of them needs to come down
All right.
or mute them, or Shane would have the advice for that. But
Yeah, just mute one of your devices. Like if you're using the phone or something else, just mute that.
So I do have, hold on. Hold, give me 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Mute and turn the volume down on one.
So one is muted.
And turn the volume down.
go ahead and test for us, Stacy.
Okay.
Let me hear your voice. Stacy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, much better. Go ahead.
Better?
Yeah.
Still echoing.
You're still echoing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of the devices can put on mute and turn the volume down. So to like off, like, you know.
So while Stacy is doing that, I'm going to go to the membership report and then we'll go back to the minutes and once she gets her technology piece together. One of the things that National has put upon us on a national level is a membership campaign. And anyone that purchases a membership, the way it has always been, it's been a 60-40 split, meaning that National receives 60% and the local branches receive 40%. However, effective April 1st, they're doing a 50-50 split. And so we are trying to encourage everyone to join or renew while we have this campaign going on. If you are a member, we're asking you to gift someone for a $30 membership. $30 is effective for an entire year, or you can become a lifetime member for $750 and you would never have to pay again. Or you can be a subscribing life, meaning you would pay $75 either a month or $75 a year. If you are already a member and you just want to support someone, we have a number of young adults or young people who's been affected by COVID who would love to be members of the NAACP. And if you are interested in sponsoring or donating $100, $100 would allow three adults to be a member and a youth to be a member as well. So we would also accept donations for that. In order to do that, you could go to our website at www.naacpsac.com. That's NAACPSAC, thank you, SAC.com, to sign on and to become a member. We have a particular goal we're actually trying to reach, for trying to get at least, I believe it was like 400 new members by the end of or mid-September. So please, if you know someone, if you want to give someone, if you don't know who to gift, we have a number of individuals who would love to join, but just don't have the capacity, the resources, or the money to do so. And you can always go to our website and donate and let us know that you're donating for someone who would love to join the NAACP. And with that, I'm going to go back to Stacy to see if she has her technology in place so that she could do the reading and the approval of the minutes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, got it. Good morning, everyone. Greater Sacramento NAACP Executive Committee minutes, April the 8th. Oh, wrong minutes. Wrong minutes. Okay.
If you need to search for the additional minutes, Stacy, what we can do, we're just going to keep rolling down the agenda and then we can come back. The Treasury Report, I wasn't sure if Shirley or Daphne would be bringing forth our report for that. Shirley or Daphne, are you on the call this morning? If not, I'm going to do it this way. Our Treasury Report was presented by the Executive Committee this past Thursday evening, where we did vote and approve the Treasurer's Report. For all members who would like to see the summary of our monthly Treasurer's Report, put your information into the chat line and our secretaries will retrieve that information for your review. Members are always welcome to look at our finances. What I can tell you, based on the executive meeting this past Thursday night, is that all bills are paid, money is in the bank, we are in the black, so we're good. However, if you would like, as a member of the Greater Sacramento NAACP, please put your information in the chat line as far as your email address, and we will set up some time for you to meet with the treasurer to review the summary of the monthly report. With that, I'll go back to the secretary to see if she has her minutes. Stacy?
Yes, I do. Sacramento NAACP General Membership, I believe I have the right ones up now. Membership in Town Hall, March 13. We did let's see here. Yes, we did a call to order, 10:05 a.m. 29 in attendance. Approval of agenda, Ernest Uwazi, moved, second by Rory Kaufman. We had COVID vaccine, is it worth it, by Dr. J. Bianca Roberts. We did our treasurer's report, that was moved and approved by Ernest Uwazi, second Rory. Action item, A, 2021 year-end report by Shirley Brown, second Rory. Action item B was by Lynn, support of nonviolence against Asians. Motion by Valerie, second Ernest Uwazi. Two-part, what we were going to do with that action item was a two-part, one public statement and private outreach. Rory Kaufman, second Malachi for the budget. Valerie, call to action, vaccine in my neighborhood, telephone access and work with other providers in neighborhoods to access information, to give access and provide information. Motion moved by Rory, second by Malachi. Lauren had great idea, including funding. Conversation coming up with inmates having information, education on vaccination. Vice President Report Ardell talked about lynching and the N-word, talked about the credit boot camp and Black wealth. Kudos to the youth at a conference. Vice President spoke regarding racism. Youth in College Conference event was great, talked about membership, including lifetime. The unfinished business at that time was the prayer breakfast. Announcements from Lynn, also Rory, Black Leadership Conference coming up next weekend. Valerie stated we had 22 people that we registered for the vaccine clinic. There were 1,000 doses given out yesterday. We alerted many more and walk-up were taken. COVID vaccine, is it worth it? By Dr. Bianca Roberts, that gave a great presentation and provided information and answers to questions regarding the vaccine. And that is the end of my report.
What time did we adjourn?
And I did not put that.
Okay, we have heard the reading of the minutes, and I am going to entertain a motion that we accept the minutes as read.
This is Valerie. I entertain a motion that we accept the minutes as read.
Valerie has moved the motion to accept the minutes as read, and Ardell Lamont has seconded the motion. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. President's report, basically what I just will share with you is an overview of some of the committee's reports that some of them I won't announce, like health, for example, because it's part of the agenda with the COVID vaccine and a couple of others. But this past month, there was some great victories. Expungement clinics that the state NAACP has been holding every first Friday and inviting other branches. And as a result of those expungement clinics, which are virtual, we have been working with the San Joaquin or the Stockton coordinator in getting expungements, and Lynn Berkeley Bascom has been very influential in making sure that we have attorneys on our panel to help support individuals who are looking to get expunged or their records expunged. During that process, it came out that the San Joaquin DA had there's a number of things that the San Joaquin DA has done, but one of which had waived the fees for expungements. And so from that discussion, I had invited a meeting with our DA, Anne Marie, and her staff, along with ours, Lynn Berkeley Bascom, Ardell Lamont, and our criminal justice and political action chairs, LaMills Garrett, to discuss extending the expungement program to involve the DA to help support that piece. In addition to that, we were requesting the waiver of fees for the expungements with it, which in Sacramento County, I believe it's $125. And from that meeting, they had agreed to waive those, or to go into agreement to waive those fees for anyone that's going to be part of the expungement program. They also agreed 120. Thank you, Lynn. I knew Lynn would correct me if no one else. But if it's 120, which is huge. In addition to that, and Lynn or LaMills, who were in Ardell, who was also part of that meeting, they had agreed. Now something with Prop 47, I believe there's a number, or in Prop 64, there's a number of items where individuals, especially with Prop 64, the cannabis one, where certain crimes have either been dismissed or been brought from a felony to a misdemeanor or even less. And so those crimes are no longer, they're no longer pursuing. So with that being said, thank you, AB 1950. There's a lot of individuals that may not be seeking expungement because they think they still have this crime on the books. And so one of the things that that meeting actually brought out, they had agreed, they had thousands that's on the books that no longer should be, they're not going to go after them. That's the bottom line. And so they agreed to go into that book of clients and dismiss all of those warrants, dismiss all of those crimes based on the new law. And so those were two major wins for us for the NAACP. And so I wanted to share that. But Lynn and or LaMills, who was also part of that meeting, do you want to add anything else that I may have missed?
The only thing that I would add is that she agreed to talk to she actually said that she tried to say that she's not in charge of the expungement, which is kind of true. But LaMills called her out on it and said, but you have the influence over the courts. You're the ones they listen to. And she conceded. So I just think it's important to know that she's not necessarily compliant until we push. So Betty, you did a great job.
Thank you. We did a great job as far as NAACP changes all the time when it comes. There's so many meetings and so many things that we do on a regular basis. And so I also would like to, and I know we're going to get to it, but just personally, as far as the President's report, give a special shout out to the Prayer Breakfast Committee that did an awesome job a couple of Fridays ago during Good Friday. And Stacy, our secretary for this morning, she actually was responsible for opening it up with prayer, and someone came back and told me that she preached, she didn't pray, and she really did. It was absolutely awesome, and all three of our speakers and presenters was just fantastic. So I do want to put a shout out to the group that did that. So the other items, I know that the Axel group is preparing to expand some things, and I don't have their report in front of me, but I believe Tia is on this call.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you. Tia, can you, and immediately after Tia, I'm going to ask the youth in college to speak as well. But Tia, bring us up to date with Axel.
Good morning, everyone. If you have never heard of AXO, it is an NAACP program for high school students that started back in 1979. And unlike the work that we do on the adult branch and in the youth council, it allows young high school students to bring their talents into a safe space to compete against one another and be uplifted. So it stands for academic, cultural, technological, scientific Olympics. We had our competition last month, but I'm reopening certain categories for high school students to compete. Our website is www.sacramentoactso.com. And if you know any high school students who are gifted in STEM, business, or any type of writing, whether it's stories or poetry, have them to sign up today. You can sign up on the website, or you can have them to call me at 240-230-7983. That's my cell phone number. The soon as I can get your students interested, the more we can process them, have them to compete, and hopefully they could progress to the national competition where they could have a chance to win scholarship money, and electronic devices.
Excellent, excellent. I'm just so proud of my young people every day. Do we have someone representing our youth and college division? That's unusual. We always have someone on call for our youth and college division. But I do, pardon me? Did someone say
No,
something?
I'm just saying, yes, it's usually James Brown or somebody's there to speak, but I guess they're not there today.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. But if you have any young people that would like to join our youth and college division, they are putting together some excellent programs, some awesome summits. Please put your information into our chat and we'll make sure that Jalil Baker, who's the president of the Youth and College Division, and James Brown, who's the vice president, and Deshanis Gray, who's our Youth and College advisor, we would definitely get your young people involved. They are doing some major, major things. With that, I do see that our treasurer is on, and just to let you know, Daphne, I just let everyone know that if they're a member of the NAACP and wanted information on our monthly financial report, for them to put their information into the chat line and that you would get that information to them. As we go on to unfinished business, we talked about the prayer breakfast. It was held at Genesis Church. It was hybrid is what we called it because it was online, as well as we did have a few participants in the audience. For the most part, it was most of the speakers who were in the audience. However, we had Dr. White, who actually was the creator of the prayer breakfast 39 years ago. And so he may not be into technology the way most of us are, but he had a car and he was able to drive to Genesis Church and sit in and listen. And so I also want to thank everyone. I was totally surprised with this beautiful crystal gavel. It is the absolute most beautiful thing that I ever seen in my life, that the executive committee members presented to me that day. Totally was surprised, totally was a loss of words. Um, just totally a loss of words. I'm still, it's my pride and joy, and that piece I will never forget, and I will treasure that gift forever. I understand Roy Kaufman, it looks like he's still connecting, but that he picked it out, but it was all of you with your hearts and minds and soul that suggested that you you presented it to me. So that was a pleasant surprise. So thank all of you for that. As far as the outcome financially for the prayer breakfast, we haven't totally reconciled that yet. So hopefully we'll have the financials or the reconciliation of the prayer breakfast next month. But until then, we don't have anything on that. It's too soon. We just pull things together. But before I move on to the next agenda item, are there any questions or comments regarding the prayer breakfast?
Yeah, Betty, this is Lorraine. I was just going to say that I'm going to add the link to the ebook in the chat box in case anyone wants to get it.
Oh, the ebook. Oh my God. I'm glad you brought that up because that was, Lorraine created that ebook. We have a lot of our sponsors. Lorraine was the technical engineer for everybody. She was probably up and ready at 5 o'clock that morning and didn't finish until probably an hour later. She's responsible for the video. Her and Shane did some magical things. It was just every time it was a technical glitch, we just said, hey, we're live. I felt like we were on television. We're live. But those two really pulled the technology together, and I really tip my hat off of you guys making that work. So Pastor Banks.
Yes, I couldn't let you close without me saying thank you for surprising me to the point I was speechless, which is very hard to do. Usually I can say something about something all the time, but I was shocked as to what it was. I just knew you would say something about 90 years and shoes or something, but it shocked me. Totally shocked me. So I just want to say thank you to the committee and to you or whoever was responsible for being honored at the prayer breakfast. Thank you.
To Pastor Banks, that was the most, I had so much fun surprising Pastor Banks, and she's right. I'm always telling her age, but this other piece was bigger than that. And as I told everyone right before we presented her with her award, her trophy, she had whispered to me, she says, hey, they got my name on here. I said, oh, don't worry about it. It's a typo. You're just going to stand next to me and we're going to give this to one of our corporate sponsors. And she's like, okay. And so she's like, I got to put in my head how I'm going to put my speech together to give it to this corporate sponsor. That was so funny for that we called her name. And so that was an absolutely delight to see a well-deserving surprise to our own Pastor Banks. Any other comments on prayer breakfast before I move on?
One comment, Madam President, Roy Kaufman.
Roy?
I want to give Ardell a credit for all the work he did to pull this together in the committee. We have very strong people in that committee. I'll use that term, and he made it happen. He and I were both there at 6 o'clock in the morning to make it happen. And to Pastor Banks, that was one of the most memorable presentations I've ever had the privilege of being a part of. And God bless you for everything you've all done. And Madam President, I hope you appreciated what we did for you, because no one in the state of California, probably the nation, has done what you have done for this chapter for NAACP. Lastly, I hope next year we can have breakfast. My Egg McMuffin got cold in the car, so I'm hopeful we'll have a breakfast next year. I do thank the church for doing what they did for us, and I'm sure Pastor Banks said, Roy got a church, but I appreciate all the work they did to support us. But kudos to Ardell and the committee, and thank you for letting me be a part of the committee. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Madam President, this is Ardell. I'd like to say something.
Yes.
I just again want to thank everybody for participating, the executive team and everybody else that was really instrumental in making that happen. It was new territory. Once again, we mastered it, we made it happen, and we were successful. So again, it's good to see the honor and reverence of all the people, Pastor Banks, everyone else that was involved, you all receiving your gallop. And I just feel that it was just another accomplishment that we made. And again, I just want to thank everybody that participated in it. And, we look forward to future events like that will be successful and more successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ardell. In addition to that, I just want to thank Ardell I took a short leave for 30 days. And so in addition to him handling the prayer breakfast, he was also responsible for the day-to-day operations of the local branch and the various meetings, the various issues, all of those things. He took it on. He took it on. So no one knows those shoes until you walk into them.
Amen on that.
So I thank
That's
him
right.
so
pastor shoes
much
for
for taking that on and doing a wonderful job in doing so. So thank you, Ardell, for that.
you.
And as we go right into the status of the hate crime letter. So in my absence, under the leadership of our first vice president and the executive committee members, there was a vote and it was brought to the general membership. And I understand the general membership vote was unanimous to create a stance for the Greater Sacramento NAACP against the hate crime on Asian Americans. And so I would like to thank Lynn Berkeley Bascom for creating that letter and making it happen. However, I just wanted to follow up with everyone on the status. Although we pushed it through, the letter actually did not go out yet. As of Thursday, it had not gone out yet. And so we want to make sure that it goes out this week, and so that individuals know where we stand as far as the local branch. Also, the APAPA group and other Asian American groups, but particularly the APAPA group, who the Greater Sacramento has had a relationship with for probably, Roy, 15 years?
Easily 15, ma'am. 15.
Yeah, about 15 years. So we have done many things together. What I can tell you, if you remember, anybody on this phone remember when Lou Blanis was the sheriff? There,
I remember. That's all I gotta say.
what I can say, I was part of an advisory committee with the sheriff, and there was an Asian component on there. And it was when NAACP was pushing for oversight for the sheriff, a commission, a different commission. And the person's name that came forward was a retired sheriff. And I pushed back on that person being the commissioner, the oversight for the sheriff. And everyone else on that advisory committee was supporting the sheriff except for the Asian component. And so the African Americans and the Asian component actually back in the day came together. And I'll just never forget when Jimmy Yee, he was on the
County Board of Supervisors?
the council, yeah. And
Yeah,
so
County Board of
we
Supervisors.
were talking to him till midnight the night before the vote. The NAACP and APAPA. And so we were able to stop a major vote that next morning because of our collaboration. That was just one of many stories that the local branch and the Asian community have fought together to stop something or to move something. But with that, they have also asked us to be part of a against hate crime against Asians on May 15th.
Yeah, the rally.
And it's going to be a national or statewide rally day. And they asked the NAACP to join them, which we are in addition to presenting our letter. There was some discussion during the executive committee that someone thought that May 15th was the same birth date as Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And we were corrected that Malcolm X's birthday is actually May 19th. And so it would not conflict with that date. So as we get more information on the May 15th rally, I will be reaching out to our membership and executive committee members for us to come collectively in one voice to rally against the hate crimes. But before I move on to
Madam President?
Yes.
Very quickly on that issue, just so you know, I've been asked by a Pampa to represent another group that same day of their rally, so I will be doing that. I want to make sure you're aware of that. Number two, we've got the Asians wanting to do some more things in the Black community because it has been stated to them there are several times they have not been supportive of Black issues like 392, but they're willing to work to try to correct some of those issues because they have, as you already know, they have no problem with law enforcement, but that's another subject at another time. But we decided because of what this rally will do nationwide to bring us together. So they're working with that. They also may be joining the Black Expo to prove that they want to have more relationship with the Black community. So I wanted to give you that update. So what we're doing for May 9th, the 15th, I'm looking forward to it. It will be at the Capitol. That's going to be interesting in itself because you can't even get on the Capitol grounds, but we'll see what happens. But I'm thankful that our organization and you will support them because I think this particular situation requires our support and our unity. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Before any other comments or concerns regarding this particular item. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go on to the next agenda item, the COVID vaccine. Do we have Valerie still? Because Valerie and the Health Committee has been doing an awesome job on the campaign that you voted on last month, Vaccine in My Neighborhood. Valerie, would you like to bring us up to date?
Yes, I can do that. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning. So back in March, we had the initiative the action item that we brought forward for the general membership to create the COVID in My Neighborhood campaign. And we created a phone line to help those people who may not be as tech savvy with going online and registering for vaccines, and also helping to promote and put it out so it's more visible to people where they could go and get vaccines. We've been working with just about 4 different groups. We started with Councilwoman Mai Vang's pop-up vaccine clinics that have been at the Sam Pinnell Center and will be there continuing into May. And then also working with Dr. Bianca Roberts and Mercy Medical Group and the 4 sites that they have in Elk Grove, Citrus Heights, Folsom, and Sacramento, referring vaccines, people to get vaccines through them. Also, Del Paso Heights Vaccine Clinic with Dr. Kwana Carter is happening at Grant High School. And then we've had some various other one-off events. The events that are coming up next week include an event that's at Luther Burbank High School. And so we've referred over 200 people to get vaccines. In many cases, people we registered them for their appointments directly. And a lot of those calls have been coming into the line. Just this week, we had over 100 calls come into the line. And so Stacy, our secretary, and we also had Stacy Drew, was another volunteer. They have been answering those lines and answering those calls because there's been a huge demand. The last thing that I wanted people to know is coming up as of April 15th, everyone will be available. Everyone over the ages of 16 will be eligible to get vaccines. And so we want to continue to promote that line and to let them know where they can go. People who are ages 16 and 17 need to get the Pfizer vaccine because that's the only vaccine that's rated for people who are ages 16 to 17. The Moderna and Johnson & Johnson are only rated for people who are 18 and over. And then we've done various education town halls. And I did want to acknowledge Pastor Banks, who just did a faith-based town hall this week, April 7th, talking about vaccines and how she has promoted vaccines to her congregation, and also reminded us that we started out first with a mask campaign. So we've been doing the best that we can to actually prepare people and educate them about COVID testing, wearing masks, hand washing, getting vaccines now. So it's been a good program. And that's my report.
Thank you. Stacy Anderson, you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yes, I do. I want to give a shout out for Jaleel, Youth and College President, that is now on the line, that has picked up the slack here with the phone calls because they are ringing all day and half of the night and early morning. So him and his team has reached out and are helping greatly, and I do appreciate them that they are always willing to step up in any capacity in NAACP.
Thank you, Stacey. We appreciate the opportunity to serve y'all, and it's been going well. So thank you.
Is that Jaleel?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, and I just want to put a straight shout out to the entire health committee. This has been no easy lift. I just can't believe how much just that single program has grown. The number of phone calls that we have received in wanting the vaccine. And, and you hear on the news all the time, African Americans are afraid of taking the vaccine. And is there some truth to that? Yes, it is. But what they don't tell is the other side of that story, is that African Americans, there are many that do want the vaccine and had been marginalized and not receiving it, or giving the information, or giving tools that was not useful to them. And so it wasn't until we really started putting the information out there and saying, give us a phone call and we'll help you navigate through it. And as a result, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stacy, is that people from out of state are calling us. They are calling just for information, for referrals of all ages, and it's not just Black folks that's calling the NAACP for those vaccines. It's everybody, but the majority of them are African Americans, and so I just take my hat off for putting this to the ground and taking it off and running with it. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you. There's one more thing I would like to add, and that is that we are recruiting now people who are homebound, and we have Black doctors that are willing to do at-home vaccines, and so we'll be collecting names of people who are interested in getting a vaccine that may not be able to get out to some of our events. And so I've also included the health line number in the chat. So if you know of anybody who's interested in getting a vaccine, particularly anybody who's homebound who may be interested in getting a vaccine, you can refer them to that hotline.
Thank you. Was there something else?
Yeah, I was just gonna add that about the homebound, but I also wanted to just advise that people are calling Miss Betty all over. They are finding it very difficult to find the vaccines all the way from out of state, Bay Area, all the way towards Lincoln and all of those areas where it's harder, to reach territory. So they're just very grateful because not only do we give them information, but I also give them any information to help them in their area, including locating their NAACP in their area as well as any of the drugs, pharmacy drugs, and just any information. So we are all ethnicities are contacting us, and so it's really great.
Excellent, excellent job. Thank you. Unless there's any other comments on the COVID vaccine agenda piece, I'm going to move to new business. One of the action items that I brought to our executive committee committee members last Thursday night was to call for the firing for the fire chief. Under the city of Sacramento, we have had in recent months 2 African Americans firefighters resigned. One was very public and actually made it to the SNR, Sacramento News and Review, and and again, a lot of this happened during my absence, but it was on the radar. And in looking at the actions of SAC Fire, it started as far back as 2014-15, where violations of racism, discrimination, lack of hiring African Americans, they were less than 3% of the overall staffing model, where they had 67% of white individuals who were part of their staffing. And through the years, the city of Sacramento had promised to support them with resources in order for them to change those numbers and to actively deal with the discrimination and the racism that had been claimed, and to incorporate or put a plan together to engage more African Americans to be part of FIRE. And as of 2021, none of those actions to date has been nothing has been done. So what I can say, when it originally was brought to Sac City, it was under a different city manager, John Shirey. When those resources were offered to SAC Fire, they came back with a plan on how they would use those resources to implement equity within SAC Fire Department. Though that information went to John Shirey, John Shirey has, he took that information and created his own interim social equity forum, and John left. The new Howard Chan came in. Howard and I have been missing each other. We actually had plans on meeting last Saturday. We're going to talk this Saturday, but regardless, they've had enough time, years, to implement something. I'm also looking at the director of their HR. There was a letter that was presented to HR in a plea for help regarding the discrimination issues. I have had Black firefighters call the Sacramento branch of the NAACP as far south as San Diego, asking what we're doing. And so at this point, I feel the fire chief has had more than adequate enough time to make the changes that he needed to make. The city of Sacramento should have been more forceful on what they expected of him. There's documentation of that. They've continued to ask the fire chief questions of where he is, and he has not answered. So I think it's time for a change, and we need new blood, a new fire chief. So the Sacramento branch will be calling on the firing of the fire chief. So at this point, in order to have a legal discussion, I am going to call for the entertainment of the action item for the Sacramento branch to move forward in calling for the firing of the fire chief of Sac City. That's my motion that I'm entertaining.
This is Jaleel. I can move on that motion to call for the firing of the Sacramento fire chief. Is that all right?
Thank you, Jaleel.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Teron, for seconding the motion. Discussion.
The only, Rory Kaufman, Madam President. Am I correct or incorrect? I just want to make sure a legal position here. I can see why we need to fire him. No problem with that. Did the city council appoint him, or the mayor, or what was the process for how he got his position, ma'am? Will you clarify that?
On how the chief received, he was hired through the city of Sacramento. So it was not in a what'd you say?
City council
It wasn't on a
vote?
ballot, basically is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, but it was the city council vote to put him there. The reason I'm
He's an
asking
employee, so he would have came through the city manager, which at that time was John Shirey.
Okay, good. I'm just saying, if we decide to ask to fire him, what are the legal apparatuses we got to jump over to get this done? But thank you for the clarification, Madam President. Thank you. Support the motion.
Okay, other questions? If there's no,
Call the question.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Next, our action item, supporting the core program. So those of you who don't know, the core program is the cannabis program. It's something that the Greater Sacramento branch brought to the attention of the city and everyone else that due to the war on drugs, the African American community was affected more than any other community except for the brown community. Black and brown community was affected by the war on drugs. And now that we have something legal within the state of California where individuals can legally have a business. And so I think the stereotype is that individuals look at African Americans as being the consumer, not the owner. And so we're changing that. We want individuals to see that we can and is owners of businesses, including this one. And so we wanted to make sure that there was a fair shot. Just a little bit of history. The city of Sacramento has had a moratorium on cannabis shops, and so, or dispensaries, I'm sorry, on dispensaries. And so that moratorium said it capped out at 30. And so when it first went into place, 29 were white owned and there was only one African American. As of today, we lost that one African American dispensary owner, and it was 100% non-Black owned. Let's just put it that way. We discovered in our research there was one dispensary owner that actually owned 7 dispensaries out of the 30. Yet we could not get one African American. So that individual went under some scrutiny because it was later found out that he gave funding to city council people, and it could have appeared that he was given favoritism in order to get 7. From that, we grew into, we needed a program, a core program to help individuals who were interested in growing a business or even getting into the business of cannabis. And we asked for funding for that to happen. With that, the core program was born. The Urban League took on part of that program, and the Asian Chamber took on part of that program. So both of them had programs to train individuals on how to become business owners, and anyone that was part of that core program, many of their upfront fees were waived once you became a business owner. And those fees were horrific. I mean, they were anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 plus just to get in the program. And then there was no guarantee that you would get your business and you would just lose the money. So by being part of the core program, you became protected. So let's move on. So the city also, we convinced them to open it up since we did not have any African Americans or potential to be part of this business venture. And so the agreement was in 2020 that they would open up 5 and another 5 in 2021. However, COVID happened in 2020. And so they decided, okay, in 2021, we'll do 10. And so there was an RFP process that went out for those individuals. And all the core, or most of the core people, went after that RFP. So now we have a new city council person that led the way. What's his name again, Lynn? Could you put it in the chat box? Or someone let me know who took over Alan Warren's position. But he's leading the fight to do a new moratorium. Sean Lowley, thank you. And to do a moratorium and to stop all cannabis dispensaries from happening, period. And not, and that would include all those individuals that completed their 8-12 week program.
Week program.
I'm sorry?
You're right about the program. I just was commenting. Yes, you're correct.
And so now that they're ready, they put in their RFP, they have put in all this money, and now they want to say, okay, no, we don't want any more dispensaries. And so what NAACP is saying, you can say that, but you need to exempt the core program. We did too much work to make sure African Americans had a fair chance in being business owners in the city of Sacramento, to the tune of millions of dollars of putting individuals through a program. And so we joined in with others, with Malachi and others, on last Tuesday. I did put in a comment and asked the city of Sacramento, did they lie to us about equity when it came to the cannabis? And so my understanding is that on that Tuesday night that they decided to put that particular vote on hold, and that they will bring it back. Guess on what date? 4/20. Anybody know what's the significance of 4/20 is?
Oh my God.
Ardell has also been following this really closely as well, and has been part of those meetings. And I'm going to ask Ardell to bring us up to date for anything that I may have missed. Ardell, are you still there?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, got you, bro.
Yes.
Okay. To piggyback off that, it's ironic that last Tuesday was the vote, and everybody was geared up, and then I guess they seen all the reports in the comment section. I don't know if it was your report that made them change the actual date, but they shut it down completely. But the other thing is that it's not only for the dispensaries, it's for the CUPs. So the CUPs is a conditional use permits that are put on a property to be able to have a micro business, a grow business, a delivery service, just all of the disciplines in the cannabis industry. And they put this on District 2. And now I hear through the grapevine that they're trying to do something in District 6. So it's just unfair because we only control 5% of the licenses right now, and we're supposed to control 50%. So it's just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm getting more involved in it, so I understand what's actually going on. But I'm glad that that we are going to get back into it, and now we actually have some support. One of our political action people are kind of helping us that are more boots on the ground. So as I find out more information, I'll share more information with us.
Madam President.
Yes, sir.
Very quickly, supporting Ardell's position, we also need to look at down the line, not now, this is local issue, I understand, and I'm totally supportive of it, because we fought too hard to put two wonderful people on the State Advisory Commission of the Cannabis, which of course, God rest his soul, Mr. Sweeney was a part of that, and so was Madam President, Ms. Hoffman. We have lost those two seats, so I'll discuss that with you and Ardell later, what we can do to put another Black on that particular, but for what you're saying now is totally wrong. They're completely freezing those entrepreneurs who are doing a fine job with that. And so I think we need to fight for this. We have to do it in order to make sure it's equitable. That it's unfair that certain people are doing certain things, you know what I'm trying to say, politically and financially, and they're leaving us out again. So we have to fight this. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Roy. Any other comments? If there's no other comments, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor for this action item, say aye.
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 Oppose? Abstentions? So moved. The next new business item, or it's not an action item, but it's just to bring it to your attention. Codes and violations and fines during COVID. I received a complaint. It started off being a complaint from an individual that received a fine on their door that lives in the Meadowview area, saying that once you added them all up, it was close to $1,000, 550 for this, 150 for that. And so the individual reached out to NAACP. They had also made several attempts to contact the city of Sacramento, feeling that they have been harassed, as well as the entire neighborhood in that area had been harassed by code enforcers and finding them ridiculous fines for during COVID. So some of the examples that was given were they were given fines for $150 to $250 if their tire touched the sidewalk.
What?
Yeah, $150 if the code enforcer walked on their driveway and looked at their tags and it was expired, $150. And, and I thought, and then coming to their homes when the shift doesn't start until 8 o'clock, but many of those individuals had that ring.com. So they were able to send me photographs of these code enforcers coming to their homes as early as 7:30 in the morning when they weren't even on their shift. So I did reach out to the supervisors, city manager, my bank as well, because this was all in District 8, on getting someone to look into it. And so they did look into it and they sent me a report. And the one individual that complained said they would have had to pass a number of houses that were in violation worse than what they said he was. And those individuals were not given citations. So that was all part of my report when I went to the city, and they came back with a spreadsheet that they emailed to me of, no, that's not true. And I think what they thought, they wanted to prove to me that they did not just target at this one person, but they wanted to show me all the citations that they have given. And so when I looked at this spreadsheet, I thought, well, this is worse because they showed me one day of citations by one enforcer, and it was probably 15 to 20 citations on the same day in the same neighborhood on the same street. And I thought, I live in District 8 and I haven't seen a code enforcer in 10 years. But you have 20 violations in one day on the same street during COVID. So my bank let me know that she is actually sitting on a task force regarding code enforcement and fees being targeted to certain neighborhoods. So I sent her the spreadsheet saying the number of code violations, and then it had check marks on the spreadsheet. And so what I'm telling you when I say tires on the sidewalk and expired tags with the car in their driveway, and in some cases, the car was in their garage, but the garage door was up and they got violated. So I'm asking for the city of Sacramento to look at those and to waive all those fees. In some cases, DMV wasn't even open because of COVID. So I'm not understanding why these rogue code enforcers was after this one particular community. So NAACP is going after that, but I want to open it up. Does anyone have any questions, or are you aware of something like this happening into your neighborhoods? Nobody. Anybody ever seen a code enforcer in their neighborhood?
No, I have not, Madam President.
Code enforcement comes to my neighborhood regularly often. I'm in Colonial Heights over in District 5.
We've got a code enforcement in District 6 that comes around the south end part of that district on occasion. Yes, ma'am.
Miss Betty, may I say something?
Yes.
Okay, so the city and county received a grant called it's through Debt Free Justice and Policy Link to study the effects of fines and fees. And it was a joint grant, and Mai knows about it. She's been in our meetings. And actually Velma came to one of our meetings too. And specifically they're looking at all these issues, but there's a specific, what do you call it? Like a questionnaire, a survey that the city has actually sent out. And I'm wondering if we could send that same questionnaire out, because Lynette Hall gets all those answers and shares it with Mai and others in that committee. And they actually are not having a lot of response from our Black community. So they've been trying to get that link out. I'm wondering if I can just put it in the chat.
Yes, please put it in the chat. And Stacy, if you can copy that, and tell folks to email us or send it. Anyone that's having a problem, I didn't even know it was an issue until this one call, and then it created all this other stuff. What I can say, that particular neighborhood is they are going out and knocking on doors and getting comments from the neighborhood, and they are giving them an earful, because I've heard it. They called me and said, hey, this is the first time that they ever even asked for our opinion for anything. So yeah, we need to add that. My Vang is on it. I can say she has the spreadsheet, but we need to probably do some type of awareness on behalf of the NAACP. Yeah, some type of awareness on behalf of NAACP. So if anyone is having this issue, to contact us so that we can get that information into the city.
I'd
I
like
have a
to add
question. What was the purpose of the questionnaire again?
Lynn?
I just put it in the chat, and the purpose is to find out about fines and fees, because the whole point right now we're working, we know it's a really terrible situation in the city and the county for all kinds of fines and fees. So some are through code enforcement, some are not, but the purpose of this is to find out where the problems are. And to be honest, a lot of people are on this committee because we just think they should just forget about it. And they should be fined, but they should be helped, because we've had a lot of situations where people can't afford to fix things. So this is just a survey to find out more. And the city is actually conducting this survey. And it goes to Lynette Hall, who is a friend of the NAACP. And she is actually working with folks in the city, including my Vang, to figure this out. Not just the ones for code enforcement, although that's included, but all kinds of fines and fees.
And I'd like to add to that, if I'm not mistaken, the city of Sacramento, this is Leon, the city of Sacramento and Sacramento County has been hosting a series of virtual community conversations with residents to discuss how fines and fees impact our lives. And the virtual conversations occur every third Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And this is, I think they're into their third or fourth series of conversations.
Right.
This is, good morning.
Madam President, this is.
Go ahead.
This is Argeo, and I'm the, when it comes down to fees and fines, I'm the king. We've had so many violations, and I'm glad that it's being addressed, because it is so unfair. And if I would like to just share at some time my experiences with the county and the city, and how once you get a fine, even to protest it, you have to pay more than the fine. It's like a $400 fee just to appear to fight the fine. So it's just, and I've been threatened and summoned, and I met with the sheriff department and their little hearing twice. It just goes on and on and on. So I'm glad that this is being opened up. But, you know, I got personal testimonies of how they railroad you into paying all these fines. And it just compounds with everything else. Not only that, once they get the code violations, then they get into your houses and then they start writing you up on other stuff. It just goes on and on and on. Now you got to get an architect and engineer involved. So, you know, those are my comments on that. And I'm glad to see that, you know, we're going to get involved in this.
Agree.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Clarissa. Good morning, everyone. This for me is goes into an environmental justice arena as well. The plight. What I'm doing right now, I'm looking for the racial demographics for that particular area. As when I've been pulling up the environmental justice areas and some of the things that I've read already. So it's a form of harassment that's well, I wouldn't say it's beginning, but I'm new here. But this is a continuum from Oakland into here, it looks like, with these code violations. But for them to step onto your property and give you a code violation for, if it was on the street, yeah, they could do it. But on your property, no, they cannot. And so it's just something for me to check further into, because District 8 is not included as an environmental justice area. So thank you for sharing this. I will check into it.
Oh, no, thank you. Other comments? You know, it's interesting. I'm reading some of the comments in the chat. Because like you, because many of you said that's trespassing, that's their private property.
Yeah.
And they have the nerves, because some of the photos, I got photos from both, from the neighborhood and from the code enforcers trying to prove their case. But it's the code enforcers' pictures that actually show them on the property of individuals with expired tags. And I thought, did they think this was something good? Or it's like, maybe there's a law that I missed where they now can go on the property if someone had an expired tag.
Don't know.
Those are their pictures. And I got other pictures from the other neighborhood folks, but the pictures from the code enforcers, I thought that was hilarious for them to send me that and for them to think that was okay.
Well, I'm just going to say, from an urban planning point of view,
Mm-hmm.
that is absolutely no, no, and no. They have no right to step on your property to tell you anything, unless they come from planning. Now, if they came from the planning department of code enforcement, that's why I asked in the chat, is this for building and planning code enforcement, or is this traffic? And so with traffic, they can only stay on the road. They have no right or reason or rhyme to come on your property. Now, if it is code enforcement of planning and building, they can come on your property, but they can't address you with the tags of your car. So with people that are knowledgeable about these, they count on that so that they can, release you of your finances. So no, this is not okay. And yes, this definitely has to be addressed, because they think people are just stupid and have no kind of recourse, but we do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rory Kaufman, to the president, I agree with the young lady who just spoke. There's no law that I'm aware of, state or county otherwise, that, except for, as she said, planning, that allows people to step on your private property. Cannot do unless they have a specific citation, warrant, or some kind of court order. And obviously none of that falls under those jurisdictions. So I think we're in the right of doing this code enforcement thing. It's gotten ridiculous, especially for Blacks and minorities in around here. It's all about collecting money for the general fund. So we need to protect our community. Totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Just the last piece of this, in speaking to at least two of the residents in that Meadowview area in that particular block. And when they came out, I guess yesterday or day before, to investigate, because I asked for a full investigation. This is what I asked for. I said I wanted a full investigation on the number of citations based on the neighborhood. I want to see if there's more citations in a certain neighborhood versus another. And I asked my vein to make sure that that happened. And I asked the city manager to make sure that that happened. And so, because originally they sent me something back regarding the one particular code enforcer. And so he sent me something back and said, this is a personnel issue and we have sent it to HR for them to do the full investigation. And I thought, oh my God, he's throwing this under the rug. So let me circle back this way. I want a full investigation of all the citations, and I want it compared to all the neighborhoods, and I wanted to see if Meadowview or Del Paso Heights or whoever are targeted neighborhoods for these type of violations, and the fact that you did it during a COVID environment where people are losing their homes, their jobs, and you are charging them $250 for their tire being on the sidewalk. So after I put that one in, they started coming out to the neighborhood. And so a couple of the neighborhood folks came to me and said, Ms. Williams, they were referring to you as her, and she wants this. Her, we're out here, she thinks we are racist, and she's got the whole department in an uproar. And I was like, no, the NAACP does. But but at the end of the day, those are the type of voices that we represent. Those code enforcers, I'm sure there's some ones that are doing their job for real, but it sounds like there's some that are rogue. And they depended upon that particular area not to have cover. And so that's what we're about. And so we'll follow this all the way to the end. And unless there's any other comments, I'm going to go to announcements. Cover California deadline, May 15th. Our president, Biden, extended on a federal level, Cover California. Everybody else knows that that's the ACA or Obamacare. So what that means, unless you're on Medi-Cal, it doesn't matter because you don't have a deadline if you qualify for Medi-Cal. But if you don't qualify for Medi-Cal, you have up until May 15th to sign up for Cover California. And so with so much going on with COVID, I believe this message has been lost. So if you can share some of these phone numbers with individuals, California Black Health Network can do enrollments. One Solution can do enrollments. Blue Shield of California, can do enrollments. And they can do them over the phone. So in this COVID environment, in most cases, they can do it over the phone and upload the information and make sure that individuals have insurance. With California, we still have the penalty at the state level. Although under Trump, he did eliminate the penalty at the federal level. However, Newsom instituted a penalty for the state level. So if you don't have insurance of any kind, whether it's Medi-Cal or Cover California, you will find out when you are processing your income tax, where if you think you're going to get a large return, you may not because of the penalty. And so we want to make sure that if nothing else, you take a picture of the screen of these telephone numbers, share it with someone. People may have lost their jobs for a number of reasons during COVID, and they need some form of insurance. And so these numbers, I'm not sure about Blue Shield, and Stacy can answer that, but I know the first two numbers, California Black Health Network and One Solution, can enroll you in both Medi-Cal or a qualified health plan, either one. They have certified reps. I'm not sure if Blue Shield could process you into Medi-Cal, but the first two numbers you can get processed into both. And so please share this information. I just truly believe it's getting lost because of COVID, and people need to know that enrollment is still open through May 15th. Any questions? Yes,
Madam President Roy Kaufman, very
yes.
quickly, I'm not adding any more work to anybody because I'm overwhelmed just trying to hustle, as you know. But my point is this, two things you just mentioned, which really caused me to be concerned. One, the income tax situation, because they did extend filing our taxes for federal, but not for state that I'm aware. Is there any way somebody can put a generic little flyer together that some of us who have networks can get it out to as many people as possible? Because you're right, April 15th is around the corner. I do not know, has that been extended because the federals have extended the federal? And this is so important. I totally agree with you. Our people will be hurt real bad by this if we don't get something out ASAP. Again, I'm not asking anybody that anymore. I could do
No. It's a good question, Roy. It's funny. I just I started working on a flyer this morning. I just couldn't get it out in time. I'm gonna finish it at the end of this meeting and get it out to our secretary and you and everyone else that will have these phone numbers and the deadline dated and all of that. So because I thought about that this morning, I was telling Stacy I really need to get a flyer out. So I do have a draft that I'm putting together. And so, yes, we will have that to answer your question.
I appreciate
just
that because,
sorry, this is Chris Jones here. Just to interject, the Franchise Tax Board has postponed the individual tax filing deadline until May 17th.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, great
Chris,
information,
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I posted that in the chat if you guys want to read the press release.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Chris. Man, Chris, you need to be on our calls all the time. Where you been?
Oh, well, you know, I joined a little while ago, got caught up, and so now.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
So, but still, let's encourage everyone to still get signed up.
Yes. Yeah.
Some of the other dates that I mentioned during our executive committee, our one-day resolution is April 17th. This means all the branches has the opportunity to write a resolution that's national in scope, meaning it's not a state resolution. However we write that resolution, it will affect all the branches to create an action on a national level. So, for example, if we put together a health resolution saying in the event of another epidemic that African Americans and minorities have a whatever, whereas where it be finally resolved, and then we put that out there on April 17th for it to be voted on. If it's voted and approved on that date, it will be moved and taken forward to our national NAACP office for it to be finally voted during our convention in July. So I did receive one resolution from the AXO group. I know Wynn said that they would be getting a resolution. If there's any other resolutions, today's the deadline, so you have until midnight tonight to get a resolution to me. Let me put my email. Well, I'm gonna put my state email in because that's where it's going. So get the resolution to me so that I can finalize it before midnight tonight, and so that I could make sure that it's submitted by the deadline, by our April 17th. And if anyone is interested in being part of the one-day resolution, there should have been an email that went out to everyone to see if they are interested in registering. If you can't remember that you received it, because I'm not going to ask you all to raise your hand. I didn't receive it. I'm just going to ask Stacy to send it out again on that one. Any questions on the one-day resolution before I move to the next?
One more quick, Roy Kaufman, Madam President. I'm sorry, I hate to ask this question.
No, that's fine.
The ACA 3 that some of us are working on, that particular bill for state, would you consider that something that I wrote real quick for the national, for other states who have that same type of verbiage in their constitution, or just we should just focus on what we're doing here in California, ma'am?
Well, I think it's worth changing the language to make it on a national scope. So if you change that language so that the word California doesn't appear and make it on a national scope, I think it's worth putting out there.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam
Okay.
President. I'll see what I can do to get something to you tonight. Okay.
Okay. Anything else on resolutions? Okay. May 17th is Lobby Day. Lobby Day will be virtual. Those of you who have participated in Lobby Day before, we normally meet at the Sheraton and then walk over to the state capitol and lobby for a lot of the bills that we either have sponsored or support. Because of the transition of Ms. Huffman to our now president, Rick Callender, we don't have any sponsored bills this year, but there's a number of bills that we are supporting, and we are starting to gather all those bills right now. And so if we would like everyone to be part of that, May 17th is a Monday, so I know some of you still work from home, but we would like, especially our youth and college division, to get more involved into that Lobby Day piece. But we are going to reach out to the full 120 California legislators in order to get an appointment with all of them on that day. And you will be part of a breakout room where you'll have the opportunity to speak to, if not the assembly person or the senator themselves, but to their chief of staff or someone close to them to push our bills. So more information will be coming to you on that. So if you're interested in being part of Lobby Day, these are the dates that I would like for you to write down for future reference. The next date I would like for you, I'm sorry, let me stop there. Any questions on Lobby Day?
One quick question, Roy Kaufman again.
No,
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
no.
What I'd like to suggest, everybody on the phone, please don't think I've lost my mind, but here's my idea. I like to do something physical in person. I'm willing to do it by myself, so I will not have anybody affected by the virus. There's two ways to get into the Capitol, and I did that because I had to do something. I had to sneak in yesterday. There's the gateway on the south door, and then there's the driveway with the assembly members drive in, two accesses. Would it be something that you would support to the branch of Madam President if someone like me would just stand outside the same day as May 17th physically and pass out our particular legislation requests to them as they drive in or walk in? And the reason why I want to say the more physical we can throw at the legislature would certainly keep people not in positions like they used to be. I think, you know, I'm talking about, Madam President, we need to physically show these folks we ain't playing, and we're not letting Zoom just be an excuse. I would like to, as we do the Zoom piece and we do that, an in-person piece of someone like me stand out there with flyers and hit them as they come in all day long to let them know we're not playing. And I just bring that up because like with the thing we're going to do for May 15th to Asians, we have to physically in person make this happen. Like the Poor People's March, we have to physically. Zoom is fine, but that's a way for them to hide, not do anything, not pay any attention. But if you're on their grounds, and it's legal, by the way, to do that, I have no problem doing that, to take whatever we decide, stand out there, pass it out to every single one of those individuals to show that we work for real. That's all I wanted to recommend, man. Thank you.
Thank you for your recommendation, Roy. However, this is a state issue. And so this is it's been voted on at the state level already to have it Zoom. So I do understand where you're coming from. Two things are happening at the state level. The governor is talking about opening up the state not until June. So this is May 17th. And then we have our national president, Derek Johnson, who is advocating that we don't do large gatherings as well. And so since this is before the governor's saying that we're opening up at the state level, I cannot bring that recommendation because it's already been voted on to have a Zoom piece. But we are looking at, oh, wait a minute, any other questions regarding Lobby Day? Okay, So, but we are looking at October 22nd, 23rd state convention to actually have a face-to-face event there. And so right now I'm working on looking at areas in San Francisco to have our state convention. And so it will, if everything goes well, it would be our first face-to-face event at the state level. And so I am hoping that once we get to this point, depending on our campaign of our membership drive, I'm hoping to have over 1,000 members before that October 22nd date so that we can bring in at least 10 delegates. Between now and then, we were going to have ongoing fundraisers and events, because my hope is this, that the branch would sponsor all 10 delegates registration, whatever that is. I think in the past, I can't remember, Daphne, but I think in the past when we did state, it was like $250 a person.
Yep.
And so for the registration only. So my hope is to cover that registration for all the delegates. Unless we get a windfall, right now, we won't be able to necessarily cover hotel and driving, but you never know. I may get someone to sponsor that, but until now, the only thing I know that we probably can sponsor would be registration. For us, living in Sacramento, it's a drive away to go to the Bay Area. Not so much for people in Southern California, where they would have to drive up or fly to the area. And then it would be a one-night stay at a hotel from the 22nd to the 23rd. So I'm saying that now because if you're interested in becoming a delegate in the future, it's too early to vote on delegates now, and you're interested in being part of the convention, it's going to be a number of things. It's going to be speakers and education. This is the year of the election. This is the first time that we will actually have a ballot that doesn't have Alice Huffman's name on it in 20 years.
Amen.
So it's going to be different, but it's going to be the first one we had after COVID as well. So questions on the October state convention? Nada? Okay. At this time, I'm going to open it up for anyone else that have announcements.
Just one announcement, Roy, Madam President. As a letter from the state about ACA 3, will that be sent out by the state very shortly to the to Assembly Member Dove's office to show our support for it? Just a quick question.
Did you send ACA 3 to the state NAACP for support?
Did I, ma'am? No.
Or do you know if their office did?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, ma'am. I'll double check that and get right back to you on that one. Yes, ma'am. I'll double check.
Okay, because I don't remember seeing it.
All right, I'll double check that.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take care of that.
I know Lynn sent one that I sent forward for recommendation that we support.
Okay.
But I don't remember seeing that one.
Okay. I'll take care of that.
Okay. Other question or announcements?
Madam President, this is Dr. Cassandra White. Just wanted to share some information on what's coming up this week.
Okay.
For me, and that could possibly be helpful for us in the future. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist here in Sacramento, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we are, myself and many of the physicians, Black physicians across the nation are embarking on the Black Maternal Health Week this week that's coming up. It's every year, April 11th through April 17th. And we'll be meeting multiple times throughout the week. We also have a conference with the Black Mamas Alliance as well. And just addressing the maternity mortality that exists. But the other key point that I just wanted to announce is that several of us Black physicians are meeting with the Senator Senator Patty Murray on Thursday, April 15th, over a Zoom conference just to discuss medical racism and the issues we've had with not having Black physicians in certain areas across the country and county, even particularly here in Sacramento County. So I just wanted to make that known that we actually have an agenda in terms of dealing with medical racism and how it's affecting our communities.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad you brought that up because you were one of the doctors that was part of the meeting with with Yolanda Richardson, the secretary for the governor.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was, Madam President.
That was such a beautiful event and people are still talking about it. So I know Valerie and I had talked about follow-up and Secretary Richardson did follow up with me saying, she apologized that she had to leave, but she didn't want to tell us that she had to leave because the information that all of you were sharing was so important. She didn't want to stop the momentum. And so she wanted to have a follow-up with that. Since then, I have had all the branches statewide and NAACP wanted to involve all of their Black doctors to be part of the next forum with Yolanda Richardson and the issues that you brought forth. And I know Dr. Roberts had put together next steps that Valerie and I were working with to get to Secretary Richardson. But also I wanted to say, there was a picture that several of you took of the Zoom of all of the Black doctors. That was the most beautiful sight ever. I've never seen so many Black doctors on one call. Matter of fact, I'm gonna use it as a flyer or something because it was amazing. It was amazing. And it was predominantly women. I think there was one male doctor on that call.
We're a dangerous species. Sorry.
Yes, stop.
That's how I'm feeling. Thank you for our sisters. Let me get that in there. We about to be put out.
But everyone was invited. So I just wanted to let you know there is going to be a follow-up, but it's going to be on a statewide issue, a statewide platform where we're inviting doctors, Black doctors from entire California to be part of it and to share the agenda or the next steps that you have put forth. So that was so powerful. It was so powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
And thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Other announcements? If there's no other announcements, I can't believe this. Okay, so Madam Secretary, I am going to call this meeting to adjourn at 11:39 and give you guys 20 minutes back to your day to enjoy this wonderful Saturday 80-degree weather. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. And we have a lot of action items. And so hopefully we have everyone's emails captured and we'll let you know next steps as we move forward with all these items we discussed this morning. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
All right.